why did you go to Norway and Bergen? Is it
Mhm.
like that? It has to be a great story because you work at the government, you decide to build a tech startup using tech in ocean farms and
Yeah.
fish farmers. So why Bergen? Why did you get on the plane?
No, so, I think it goes back to a lot of the stories that we've heard from our oyster friends. A lot of those guys, it at a simple level, right? They need inventory software. They need to report properly. They want to make sure if disease breaks out, they can track it down. But what they got really interested in, one of their biggest challenges that they asked us was, could you help us reduce our mortality? We lose half of these oysters every year and we don't know why. And what that really, when we start digging into that problem, what we discovered was that the challenges and the reasons for why you would lose half of a farm can come from anywhere. It can come from, runoff downstream. It can come from a storm. It can come from an algae bloom. It can come from the neighboring farm or, a boat coming by. All of these factors could contribute to it. So in order to solve the problem, you really had to harness a large amount of data if you wanted to try to predict all of these issues to help them really, lose less than half of their farm every year. So that's number one. What we identified was we needed to find a lot of data if we really wanted to solve these types of challenges. And what we recognized and how we ended up in Norway was that when you look at the salmon market, the amount of data that has been generated in this space is enormous. Farms have had software for 20 years, cameras, sensors, everything is decked out. There's so much data. Even, the Norwegian government collects and publicizes a ton of data. There was no industry, no market in aquaculture that has the scale of data that Norway does. So we quickly recognized that, if we wanted to really succeed in helping farmers raise, have the healthiest farms, we needed to start with the place with the most data. So we got on a plane, went to Bergen for a couple of weeks, did a quick visit and basically fell in love with the industry, the city, everything.
So at that point, when you go to Norway, are you convinced to building this software, or is it just a tour to see and if it's right for us to establish us in Norway and build, or what is the mindset when you went to Bergen the first time?
Yeah, it was really just exploration at that point. It goes back to when you talked about, influences and where's the inspiration comes from. Going to Bergen was, we were told this was the center of aquaculture, right? This is the Silicon Valley of aquaculture. You won't find the resources anywhere else. And we had to see it for ourselves. And, one of the places, one of the big themes that, I've reflected on is when you think about Silicon Valley and startups, why does everyone flock there? It's where all the ideas are. You can talk to somebody, you can go to a coffee shop, a bar, and you never know. You may end up with a connection to an investor. It may be kind of that groundbreaking thing that happens for a company. And you just can't find those opportunities anywhere else. When it comes to our industry and aquaculture, Bergen represented that. You go to the bars, everybody will talk about salmon. They'll talk about salmon prices. They'll talk about what work they're doing. You can find those opportunities in Bergen unlike any place in the world. And we saw that firsthand, driving up and down the East Coast looking for ocean farmers, oyster farmers. We're driving miles and hours, every time just to get to the next farm, where you have a city like Bergen, where you have researchers, government, everybody is involved with it in one way or another. And that really is what inspired us. Was this was the place that we could learn faster than anywhere else.